Alright folks, hello and welcome to more Star Wars content. Thank you for joining me. We are in episode 3 of Tales of the Jedi. We are on choices. Ooh, what choice? Whose choice? Which choice? Where choice? No, stop Tyler. Alright. Ooh, bit more Dooku then. Still wondering whether there's going to be like a through line to this whole kind of series.
You've been studying that tablet for a long time. Are the answers you need over Master Katri's death in that
Okay,
file?
Dooku.
Master Katri died from an ambush.
We ain't trusting no senators, son.
And if Master Katri was killed, how did the senator escape?
Good questions.
Why are you concerning yourself with these questions? The council gave us our instructions.
Because this is the thing. Because Dooku cares. Jeez. So interesting that Dooku in this moment is showing more empathy than Windu. You know, and obviously, you know, the typical representation of these two characters is Windu, good guy, Dooku, bad guy. So it's so interesting.
Cannot involve ourselves in local political.
You see that thing that I was talking about last episode where Windu's like, yeah, but this isn't our purview. We haven't been ordered to do this. Why would we do this? You know, and that's such a cold view.
So she can have a proper burial.
I like how it's flipping, you know, the what we know.
Your devotion to rules is sometimes inspiring and sometimes maddening.
Nice. And it's funny how, like, you know, so often I'm on Dooku's side. Would I be a Sith? Shh. Yeah, I so appreciate what they're doing with this show. It is thrown into perspective more of the Jedi Order and the failures of it, and the way that it was flawed, and interesting how they're kind of telling it through a lens of Dooku.
I am Jedi Master Windu, and this is Master Dooku.
And the morality and the flipping of sides.
We are saddened by what happened to Master Katri. She was well respected and will be missed.
And again, I feel like giving the Star Wars fans what they want, you know, Dooku and Mace, and seeing them together as allies, which is really cool.
When I was contacted by these rebels.
Oh, rebels, you say?
Why would you choose to go without a security detail?
Because I hope for peace on Raxus, and I'm willing to do anything for it.
Anything? Oh, I do not believe you, mate. Absolute suspicion. X for doubt.
I'd like to see where you and Katri went to meet this.
Yes, good. Sleuth it out, mate. Sleuth it out.
And relive the incident, which
Oh, shut up.
heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Go over it.
Let us be on our way.
They're all in on it together, I feel.
It's obvious that he's hiding something. We should take this information
Good.
back to the council.
No, just deal with it.
Katri to leave without finding out what happened to you.
I would want her to follow protocol.
Funny how that theme is commonly recurring. I like it. These two, I guess, almost ideologies in the Jedi, right? These two viewpoints of two Jedi in the Jedi Order and what they should do. It makes me wish that we'd seen more of this in the sequel trilogy, you know, focused a little bit more on the failure of the Jedi. I feel like, you know, episode 8 touched on it just a little bit, and I was like, oh, and then it moved away and didn't really go back to it, right? Which was such a shame to me. Do you see Sherlock?
Descended upon her.
That seems like a lot of fire. Yeah.
Why are there no blast marks on your ship?
Good.
Like you.
Yeah, straight out with the lightsaber.
The truth.
Dooku!
He's so quick with the lightsaber, I love it. Ah, just get rid of him.
The guards killed her.
Chop a head off. Just one. Oh, wow. See, interesting how we get that. And it's like, Mace, if you'd have acted quicker and stopped messing about, maybe that guy wouldn't have died. I mean, does he deserve to die? Maybe. I don't know. But you know what I mean? It's interesting, isn't it? If Dooku had been able to kind of just act a little bit more, I guess, like rashly, we might say, maybe that guy would have survived. Mace was being too cautious, almost. The absolute audacity that, you know, there's constantly people that think they can outmatch Jedi. Oh, to be fair, that is a lot of them. Oh yeah, that's it. To be fair though, this is Windu and Dooku, come on. Nice, move, dude. Nice, we all love a good smoke screen and lightsaber blaze, don't we? Yes. Whoo, baby.
You and all of the Senate puppets will see a reckoning! No!
Yike. Yeah, but again, we see them against the Senate. Pushing back a bit against the ideals of the Senate, or, you know, the perceived democracy of the Senate, and how it doesn't work.
We are part of a group who learned Larrick was using his ascendancy to become rich at the expense of our people and planet.
Oh.
He was willing to bleed Raxus dry.
Damn. Constantly seeing this grayness throughout this series. I love it. It's so good. You know, these guys are presented as the bad guys, and it's like, right, they're the bad guys. And just this idea of who is the bad guy, who isn't, and why, and also making those that typically you would perceive and have perceived in the past in regard to Star Wars as the good guys, namely the Republic, the Senate, right? I mean, you know, if you dive a little bit deeper, you can see that it's not perfect, right? If in you know, for example, in the prequel series, and obviously how it progresses and where it goes in the Empire, obviously you can argue that Palpatine twisted it and whatever, you know, you can. But I love how this show is constantly kind of addressing the way that the Senate, the Republic, isn't perfect and how it fails, and it's not this extreme moral good, and the idea of the Jedi and how they're intertwined with that isn't necessarily the best thing or the best relationship or the best thing for the Jedi and what the Jedi should be doing as well. Yeah, I love this. I love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you think you know who the bad guy is, and then he says why he did it, and it's like, right, I understand why you did it.
All from his comfortable residence on faraway Coruscant.
Why did you let the senator live?
Because we were going to force him to put forth our own agenda.
Why didn't you take this to the proper authorities?
Always the question, innit?
Jedi are lapdogs of the Senate. They're bidding.
Not wrong.
It's evident throughout the galaxy.
Yeah,
Jedi claim
to everybody.
peace, but mostly keep law and order for the rich and powerful.
I tell you, this guy's on it. And Dooku's hearing all this, seeing all this, yeah, that little look, nice. And we see, obviously, with the beard that this is further on than last episode, you know, down the timeline. So these things are kind of insinuating themselves, getting in his head.
Your ideology, while faulty, does have its points.
And it does.
Surprised to hear that from a Jedi.
So interesting that we're seeing as well that to the rest of the galaxy, this, you know, discrepancy between what the Jedi are and what they're doing for the Senate is so obvious. But obviously, it's funny, isn't it? Because then it also makes the prequel films this propaganda in a way. You know, it's told from a certain point of view. But it is from a certain point of view. That's the whole point, right? You know, we hear Ben Kenobi say that in the original trilogy to Luke, and you know, it's such a theme. I think, you know, it's always that idea of the unreliable narrator, I think, which is, you know, when we see this, thinking back to the prequels and how the Republic is perceived, absolutely unreliable narrator, right? Those films are told from this perspective of the Jedi are heroes, the Senate is good, and all this stuff, and it just doesn't account for this. And yeah, so interesting that it kind of again supplies this extra layer to the prequels, right? This extra perspective that makes it so much more intriguing.
You had every right to protect your planet.
Yeah.
Don't lose heart is the only way you will truly have victory. I say that for all of us.
And this is the thing, Dooku's so motivated by this idea of actually achieving his goal, achieving victory. He's much more individual, which I think it goes against the Jedi, because the Jedi are kind of like, you know, we are together, we are a team, we are, you know, ruled by the council and by this ideology, this belief, the code.
The council will have questions.
We solved Master Catri's murder.
But will they be happy with your tactics?
Now let me ask you one thing.
Yes, go on, stick it to him.
Do you think the Jedi will truly keep peace if they continue to take everything the Senate says as law?
Oh, yes. We're asking the right questions.
We are guided by our council and not by politics.
Are you?
Nor ego.
Damn, and Mace seriously sees it as ego, but like Dooku, I don't think there's much ego there, honestly. He is just thinking individually, like I say, which I think to a certain extent is very un-Jedi-like. I'm on Dooku's side, man. I'm absolutely on Dooku's side. And I love that the show is presenting it this way.
Master Catri was patient with it flowed with certainty through her.
Oh, this is nice to see. It puts Mace's acting and decision making in regards to Palpatine, you know, in that little scene with Anakin, where Anakin finally turns into perspective because, you know, in that moment he's willing to take the extreme option.
I am told you will be presented with Master Catri's council seat.
I was as surprised as you are now. You and I both were together when the mission was assigned. I stuck to the mission. You decided to interfere in a way that led to a senator's death.
What? What? That's so twisted. That's so twisted. No, 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 no. Like, I get where he's coming from, and I know why he's saying that, because he was always like, no, let's go back and report our findings. But dude, come on. Come on, would that really have done? That's so weak. I get... But this is the problem. This is the problem with the Jedi. Sorry, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, because I get it. Jedi to a T. I get it, right? But no, Dooku wasn't... Not being funny, you could... Like I say, there's an argument to be made that if Mace had, you know, tried to stop Dooku, Dooku would have prevented the senator dying anyway. You know what I mean? That's so weak to me. That's so weak to me. But Mace is absolutely this arm, this kind of this person, this figure that's so entrenched in the Jedi Code and what they're supposed to stand for. To, I would say, a detrimental degree.
How kind of you, Master Jedi.
Seeing this stuff, you don't blame Dooku that much for getting annoyed with the Jedi and splitting from them. I would be frustrated with them, and I would be like, your methods aren't working, they're not supreme, and you are so enmeshed in the Republic that you can't see. There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, do you know what? Something I'd like to talk about a little bit, I guess. It's just I love how this show is focusing on diving deeper into the Republic and the different sides to it, and that it wasn't perfect, and that the relationship between the Republic and the Jedi wasn't perfect. And actually, if you look back at like the prequel films, the Jedi were too entrenched in the Republic. They weren't a separate body anymore. They didn't really abide by the tenets of the Jedi Code in the way that were very strict, but they were very strict in the way that they applied what they thought abode by the Jedi Code. Do you know what I mean? Which is very weird, very weird. And it also puts into perspective, like I say, Anakin's turn and how he got disillusioned with the Jedi. And, you know, I like how they're presenting it in this show in a way that makes you sympathize with Dooku. Because I think you do. And I love that. I really, really love it. It's really cool what they're doing with this little mini-series, I guess. I'll end this one there because I want to see, honestly, where this show goes as a whole. So with that said, thank you for joining me. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you, as always, to my patrons. Lovely, lovely people. Thank you. Thank you for your continued support. And for all of you, I'll see you soon.